Portugal.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? How was your weekend? Do let us know in the chat. Exciting day today. Off on the road trip. More about that from Colin Ross-Jones, ex-racing driver and resident petrol head, the host of our Go Motor. Nearly did it again, didn't I? Go Motoring Portugal feature on the show. And Colin and I are heading off to Viseu later on today, and we'll be staying with a gentleman called Hugh, who you're going to be finding out more about later on today, especially when we meet him in the morning. Actually, we're going to meet him tonight because he's going to join us for the wine club. We have a wine club meeting this evening, and I think Hugh actually brews some wine, which would be pretty awesome to talk to him about that. And he'll be joining us in the morning to talk about life in that part of the country. We don't talk a lot about Viseu, do we? He's been running a guest house over there, as I understand it, for a number of years now. If you want to have a look, I'm trying to look for myself now. Oh, yeah, it wasn't loading. Beautiful looking residence called Minola, Minola. Minola Gay. I will put the link up to that. So maybe check that out after the show. We'll talk more to Colin at around 9:30 this morning about where we're going, Colin. We're meeting up with Coach Turner, whose new abode we can see in just a moment as well. Let me just put the link to Hugh's place on the screen. Morning to you, John, to the Naunu, to Deagle, Jackie. Coach Turner's already in, and James, of course, who we'll be speaking to at 9 this morning. It's Mindful Migration Monday. And of course, we'll be speaking to James at around 9 this morning with his mindful moment and mindful dad joke, which he can do for himself when he arrives, as long with his visual memory. Right. He was in at 7:46 this morning. Bom dia, Campos, says he. Feliz segunda a todos. Como foi o vosso fim de semana? So how was your weekend? Do let us know in the chat, please. And if you've got any nice pictures, Pam remembered us while she was out and about. Hold on a minute. I'm a bit wonky there. And I think there's a little bit of software running with this camera zooming in and out. So let's see how that goes this morning. Yeah, lovely pictures from Pam, who remembered us while she was out and about in Alcobaça over the weekend. So let's have a look at these lovely motors. Yeah, it's all about the motoring, it seems, today. Well, so far anyway. That's where Coach Turner is. And says, this is our latest gaff. It's becoming a habit. Very good. I think because that's a former monastery. So I think we're seeing you tomorrow, Coach Turner. And we've got a God Squad tip of the day to come from you. So looking forward to seeing you. And you'll like these as well, I think. Can you recognize these vehicles here? That's a BMW, isn't it? At the front there. And do I see an MG? About 3 cars in there. Very nice. I don't recognize that part of Alcobaça. Is that Alcobaça, Pam? And, oh, yes, maybe by the river on the, not in the square, where you might imagine that to be. That's an MG in the middle there, isn't it? And another picture for us. Thank you. That's another BMW, I believe, there. And another MG, possibly there. And a nice bonnet detail here, or hood. That's London, Lisboa, 25th of April to the 4th of May, 2024. That's interesting. That's not Coach Turner, but it could be, who's made a similar trip from the UK to Portugal. So who's that then? And what does that say there? Is that Ericeira.com on there? Who else is doing the UK to Portugal trip at the moment, Coach Turner? Thanks, Pam, for those. Very kind, very thoughtful of you. And your picture's coming in. Thanks, T-Duck, for spotting this character. Can you see a little pooch in the top of the picture? In case you can't, Here is the detail of that pooch you popped through the little opening above the shop there. Oh, how you doing? And yes, our opening meme this morning, May the 4th be with you. Had a lovely anniversary. Thank you for those who sent me and Mrs. M greetings, celebrating our 11th wedding anniversary on Saturday. And these came in. Aren't these brilliant? Star Wars, May the 4th be with you. And he was rather disrespectful, wasn't he? Calling the esteemed president of the United States, Joe B. Wankanobi. I think that was in the last few days. Mark Hamill represented there. And Stormtrooper helmet. Aren't these brilliant? Thanks, Kim Novak, for sharing these with us. I thought these were rather good. A nice Yoda azulejo. Anybody want to send in a Yoda-esque quote based on azulejos here in Portugal? Brrr! Chewbacca there, ready for action. And another one, a less formal portrait of Chewie. And R2-D2. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for those, Kim. And I don't know if you generated those yourself or you found them from somewhere else, but props and respect to and thanks to the original artist of those. Oh, while we're in the picture deck, yes, I mentioned the wine club that's happening tonight at 8 o'clock. About 12 hours from now, we should be quite jolly, I suspect. And we're asking you to bring a wine that best represents you this evening if you want to join us. Are you full-bodied? Bring a wine to suit. Aged and sour, perhaps? Dense and complex. Gilda put up her hand for that one. Dense and complex. Tight and juicy. Some of you I know are tight and juicy, even first thing in the morning. Sexy and sparkling. Bring a wine along tonight. 8 o'clock, we'll be having some fun bringing it or selecting a wine and tasting it live on air and talking about it with the other wine ninjas at 8 o'clock this evening. Make sure you join us for that. Hopefully, we'll have set up the outside broadcast studio, Colin, and we'll be able to be part of that this evening. So, yeah, looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun tonight. Let's see what's going on in the chat, shall we? Bank holidays, what? Not another one. Bon dia Gumpers from Coach Turner. E Feliz Segunda heading north now after a lovely few days in Praia da Luz. We visited Marvão yesterday, which was a bit hidden in clouds. Lovely place, though, isn't it? I've been to Castelo de Vide nearby, but Marvão, very close to Spain in the Alentejo. Amazing place, well worth a visit. Sounds like Coach Turner liked that place. And Mrs. T. Oh, we also, by pure chance, came across the national stud for Lusitano horses. So had to have a tour. What an absolutely beautiful place and lovely animals. Yeah, there was a bit of equestrian action, not only in Ponte Lima in the last little while, but also in Caldas. There was an equestrian fair. Look at that stage. If you know this place, this building in Dom Carlos Park, in Caldas Terrenia, you'll know that a giraffe often sticks its head out of that enclosure there. There seems to be a Lusitano horse festival going on in that park in Caldas Terrenia at the moment. And that's the way to build a stage, isn't it? In among all the foliage. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you, T-Duck, for that picture and others that came in with that event there. That was talked about quite a lot in our new San Martino de Porto group, which is now not admin-only messaging. It is now a comms group for people wanting to find out what's going on and where, which we know can be a little bit difficult here in Portugal. Marketing is a little bit not as some might expect. If you are meant to be somewhere, you know about it. I think is the Portuguese way. So we're doing our best to help the foreigners who don't know about such things going on, helping other foreigners. And so our San Martino de Porto group, I was only allowing admin to post in that, which is basically me. Oh, and Phil Ruff, I think, so it wasn't pinging all the time. Well, it is pinging all the time now because the folks of the Silver Coast. Sorry for those of you who preferred it in the old way, but those of you who want to know what's going on the Silver Coast might find that a useful WhatsApp group to belong to. So well done, Coach Turner, enjoying yourself in Marvão. And the national stud for Lusitano horses. I would have thought that would be nearer to Golgão rather than near Marvão. But you're heading north and still able to include for us each day a God Squad tip of the day. So very grateful to you. Haven't run at all on this trip, so it's going to be hard getting back into the routine when we're home. But I thought it might be helpful to cover a few running drills as a start. These, for me, always form part of the warm-up and are a good opportunity to assess my athletes. The first is very simple. Walk on the balls of your feet for about 20 meters and then return on your heels. Oh, we want to see video of that, don't we? Ministry of Silly Walk stuff. With the former, lift your heels as high as possible, and the latter, your toes. This helps work the ankles and prepares them for the workout. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Talking of running, well done, Kathy, who took part in the Belfast marathon. Was it the Belfast City Marathon, Deagle, over the weekend? Yes. We got a little bit of video of Kathy completing the last 50 meters. Well done, Kathy. We know you're going through a lot at the moment, and well done on this. And Matt, of course, the eldest in the McKillen household, who completed the whole race. So here's Kathy crossing the line.
Here he's coming.
Right, okay. Woo! Yes, man!
Oh, man!
Yeah!
And that's the Jack has it for Jack out, and you just don't compete this.
Fantastic. Well done, Kathy. All the best to you. Love to you and all the family over there in Belfast. I think we've got a comment from you, Deagle, this morning as well. Let's find that, shall we? All the other lovely comments that seem to be coming in this morning as well. Yeah, how was your weekend? What are you up to this week? Nice that we've got some better weather, isn't it, for our road trip as well? I know a few people have been a little bit having a little bit of cabin fever with some of the rain, prolonged rain we've been having, especially up there in the north of the country. Hey, João de Norte, I think that might include you. Bon dia, Portugal! It's not dampened his spirit, so look at that. Bon dia, Gumpers from Jackie. Carl, I pray you and lovely Louise had an amazing anniversary weekend. Love to you both. And it was lovely to receive your message. So thank you, Jackie. We haven't got around to thanking everyone who sent us messages, but I'm glad to be able to do that this morning. To everyone who sent us lovely messages on Saturday, and to you, Jackie, for your recording, which is fantastic to receive. So thank you very much indeed. Bon dia, Colin Gumpers, from a sun-out Belfast, looking like a stunning week, peaking next Saturday and Sunday at 19 degrees. Springsteen plays outside concert Thursday in Belfast, the first of his 4 Irish concerts. And today's a bank holiday in the UK, so many people are off. Interesting. Okay, well, we had our May Day last week, didn't we? And it's the continuation of May Day celebrations in the UK, by the sound of it, with a long weekend. That's how they do it over there. Bon dia, everyone. And not Gumpers, but bon dia, everyone. I hope everyone is safe in Porto after the weekend news. I don't know what that weekend news was. I do know that in the capital, and I was first alerted to it by the sound of a beeping horn outside. I'm thinking, so what's that? An election? No, it's not. It can't be an election at the moment. Is it? Must be football. So, and I was right. And Mrs. M was saying to me, "What's that? Why is somebody driving up and down the street beeping?" Congratulations, all you sporting fans. Let's have a quick look at what was going on at the Sporting Stadium last night. They are the league champions here in Portugal, and look at this, some fantastic pictures, champions of this season. And let's see if this video will play for you. I did it my way. The record shows. Oh, we took the penalties. Me singing has broken the stream there from that coverage. Oh, here we go. Can you hear that? I hope you can. That's the Sporting fans. Champions, Sporting Lisbon champions this year of the league. Well done, Sporting, and all you fans, including Nuno, of course, but not Francis, who's Porto. Good to talk to you the other day, Porto fan. I'm not sure what you're referring to there now. It sounds grisly. I'm sad to hear. And bon dia, Portugal, from João de Norte, as well as some feedback on Viseu, a beautiful city. Bon dia, Alegria. How you doing, buddy? Lovely to have you here this morning. And yeah, that's where we'll be staying. Maybe if you want a last-minute booking and you want to come and join us, we'll be filming a bit of the Portugal road trip action as well as a bit of our own road trip action. Must remember to clear my phone, right, Colin? That was embarrassing, wasn't it, in the last shoot where I ran out of space on my phone? I think I had to borrow the coach's phone, someone else's phone. So Let me make sure I clear the phone, and we'll take some footage today of our road trip, and looking forward to meeting you tomorrow, Coach Turner. Being on one of them, well, Colin will tell us more about this when he arrives, but we're going to be apparently on one of the most beautiful roads in Portugal tomorrow, as well as having a wine club celebration and the breakfast show from a new location in Viseu tomorrow morning. Michael Barton's also here. Bon dia, everyone. Had a great time meeting Gumpers, Catherine and Michael at the Craft Beer Festival in Coimbra. Yes, talking of WhatsApp groups pinging, Craft Beer Corner on WhatsApp was pinging very nicely as well. Oh, thank you very much. My goodness, João de Nort, a big horse there, 3,360 pounds of actual real. Is that really a horse? Samson, a Shire horse. I remember seeing a video of a documentary about Shire horses as a child, which really frightened me. But for other reasons than are obvious in the picture, I'm going to share with you from João de Nort this morning. Why was I going to WhatsApp? Yeah, I was going to give you the link to Craft Beer Corner. Yeah, for those of you who do like your craft beer, I'm going to give you a link now. If you want to join this group, that's on the screen as well. And that'll probably start pinging in the group if you join that this morning. But for those of you who want to be kept abreast of what's going on the craft beer scene here in Portugal, this is probably the best way to do that. So that's on the screen now. Great to hear, Michael, that you got to meet up with other Michael Whitby. I think Byrandi was there as well at some point over the weekend. Bit of a soggy weekend, says João Ernesto. A bit of a soggy weekend, but at least a week of sunny weather ahead with days in the 20s. Yes, this is what we hear. And that weather forecast that I wasn't exactly happy to give this time last week did appear to come true, didn't it, with quite a lot of rain last week. So hopefully that forecast. Where are you seeing that forecast, João Ernesto? Let me know. Greetings from a warm and sunny Algarve. Already warm and sunny there. Good morning to you. Paul Richards, how you doing? T-Duck, great to see you. And Mrs. Duck yesterday, Bon dia, Alegria Campus. Lovely afternoon hanging out with you. And Sidonio is a very happy man. He's a sporting fan as well. So Sidonio, very happy this morning. And maybe James will tell us when he arrives at 9 this morning exactly how that sort of victory or winning the league is celebrated in a Portuguese household. That'll be interesting. Are you a de facto sporting fan then, on account of being in that same household, James? And the Nanu updating us on this, I read that some immigrants were attacked in Porto in their own house on the 4th of May. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope all the Gumpers are safe. Well, yes, I think we are. I'm very sorry to hear about those immigrants that were attacked in their own house, by the sound of it. That's terrible. I hope they're well and recovering from that incident there. Yikes. Okay. I've got talking of, as we were on Friday, of breaking pasta. Now, I'm not sure we get to see pasta being broken in this video because I can't play all 16 minutes of Fabrizio's new video, but I think we inspired him a little bit. You especially, T-Duck, by mentioning the law against breaking pasta. If not an official law, then a sort of cultural law, an unspoken law in Italy, whereby you shouldn't break spaghetti when you cook it. And he decided to make a carbonara video, and we have a little clip from it here. I'll play it for you actually after I've played you an update from the Herdad de Mayo site. Bobby couldn't join us last Friday, and I meant to play this, but didn't get around to it. We got quite excited, didn't we, talking to Anna and having fun hanging out. The cost of living and the joy of life. Well, I'm sure this is bringing a lot of joy to Bobby's face. This is the progress at Herdad de Mayo. And after this, I'll play a little segment of Fabrizio's new carbonara pasta video as well. Some people have Lego to play with, don't they? Bobby has real houses. I think there are about 80 villas being built in that particular development. Can you imagine? Quite extraordinary, and seeing the anatomy of some of those buildings there as well. Well done, Bobby, and everybody who's working on the Herdad de Mayo site. It's really starting to come together now. Remember, we broadcast from there some time ago, and we will be back at the marketing suite. There was a good fun last time, and I'm sure we'll have some fun soon. It'd be great to be at the topping out, won't it? When the bubbly is flowing freely and gladly as people start moving into those homes there south of the river. Great job, Bobby, and all the team there. Let's go eat some carbonara, shall we? Actually, I'm not sure we get to that part of the video, but here, Fabrizio, in his inimitable style, teeing up his video, and I'll furnish you with the link for this as well.
Buongiorno! From our kitchen here in Lisbon, Portugal, we will show you today how to make a proper Roman carbonara. I'm from Rome, so you get the real stuff. So, follow what I'm telling you to do, no variation, no creams and parmesans and stuff, and you will succeed. So, stay tuned. So, the ingredients are...
How about that? What did he really say? And what a legend he is, by the way. Isn't that great? I'm looking forward to watching the whole video. I watched the beginning. I wanted to share that with you. The link for that later, not now, is up on your screen now. Did he say no creams, no parmesan? I think that's a real Roman. It's a carbonara romana, like a mama used to make. And not the things that you see in most carbonara recipes, by the sound of it. Which is very interesting. There's a great big lump of pork lard that starts that recipe, and you'll be breaking laws, I think, if you use creams and Parmigiano in there. I believe at some point he shaves his pecorino, so there's something to look forward to. Yes, James. Arriving to hear that. I think Fabrizio is seen shaving his pecorino in the kitchen as well, actually, with that carbonara recipe there, with ingredients I have not seen before. Okay, let's go back to your comments. And the other thing that I heard when I was getting ready to do the show this morning, I'm listening to a very annoying presenter by the name of Matthew Wright in the UK. What an annoying! I mean, sometimes you listen to shows, don't you? And I hope that's not what's happening here. But you listen to certain presenters because they're so annoying. It's like, what are they going to say or do next? Matthew Wright is like that for me on LBC, long, boring conversations. I mean, no, like London Broadcasting Corporation, I think, originally, or London's biggest conversation. I can't remember what they call it now. They keep reinventing their strapline. But he was talking to a correspondent about how if you attach bells. Do you remember when I said our cat killed some young birds the other day, which I find really appalling. But cats gonna be cats. And there was a solution for that proposed this morning on Matthew Wright's radio show. And we've seen this before in our family, and we have tried to do it, I think, and we may do it again, is to attach a bell around the cat's neck. Now, apparently that can cause as much harm, especially to cats, as it can good. It is, James has got a view on this. It supposedly does save some bird life, but apparently not according to James's sources. But the woman who came on to talk about it on his radio show, her proposal was that cats shouldn't be allowed to leave the house. Now, I'm not sure about that either. I mean, especially in Portugal, where apparently there are 1 million stray animals walking the streets of Portugal, both cats and dogs. Oh, is it only cats and dogs, or ferrets and mice and other birds? I found a bird, didn't I, once? I think I was doing the Good Morning Portugal show at that stage, and I found a canary in the street who was very tame enough to have me pick him up and then take him back home and roast him in the oven for 2 minutes. No, only kidding. We got a little cage for him, and he thought he'd be safer in our house than he would be hopping about on the pavement where I found him, where a cat would surely have him for dinner. So yes, there are a million stray animals on the streets of Portugal. And apparently, yes, this woman says, no, don't put bells around your cat's neck. Keep your cat in at all times. She'd been breeding cats for years and years, and she thought that cats should be locked in. Apart from having a catio, she has a little exercise area called the catio. But I was thinking to myself, if you do have a bell around the neck of your cat, which leads to them not committing a birdicide or ornitholicide with the local, and especially in springtime, it's just rich pickings in it. A cat can enter a bird's nest and just slaughter these young little fledglings. If you manage to keep your cat indoors and not have birds being killed, would that be a Nobel Peace Prize? Right, I think maybe we should bring James. I think fancies his chances of improving upon that situation there. Just want to make sure I haven't got anything else. No, he says. I think we may have one or two other items in the picture and video bagging area. So let me just see if there's anything else that should be included before we move on. Oh, we've got a video. I've got a music video. Gary from our men's shed. And the next men's shed activity, oh, yes, I need to tell you about this in a moment. The next men's shed activity is kayaking. I'm sure I downloaded Gary's video. Where did that end up? Has that ended up in there? Ah, yes, Gary's video, there is. I want to tell you that our next men's shed activity is kayaking in the bay of San Martino de Porto. And that will be, I think, on the 15th, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday the 15th. If you're in the area and you haven't heard about that already, come join us. We're going kayaking in the sunset of San Martino Bay, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. So join us for that. And fellow men's shedder Gary, I'll play a little bit of his music video now in anticipation of James and his theme tune. But he's written this great tune. Mrs. M's given it a lot of heavy rotation. Not so much my genre, but I can certainly respect the fact that Gary's knocked out a very good tune here of a more rocky style. And with a great lyric as well, with a great title, by the way, as well. So a little bit of Gary and his wonderful new tune. He's released a few tunes that are available on Spotify, and this is one of them. So thank you very much, Gary, for allowing us to play this. And we will play it in its entirety at some point, but just let me give you a little bit of a snatch of it this morning. Well, sorry about that abrupt ending there, but isn't that good? Local lad, Gary Taylor, and he's created that here in Portugal, I believe, and we'll play that in its entirety probably next Friday. It's 9 o'clock. We're gonna change the mood of the music a little bit. It's James's intro, everybody. Bom dia, tudo bem?
Bom dia! Muito bem, obrigado. E tu?
Muito bem, obrigado. I'm pouco cansado. So a little bit
Sempre.
tired. Yeah, you too, right? Busy
Claro.
weekend? Celebrating Sporting's victory?
No. Sidonio yesterday, yes, we were out shopping.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me how Sporting was 1 point away from being the champions. And I've watched enough football now to understand what 1 point means. It means that basically, if they draw, they win, which
Yes.
to most Americans is a very strange concept that anyone wins by tying. But anyway, I understand the point system. And then he explained that if Benfica lost, then Sporting was the champion. So Sporting didn't have to do anything from that point. And I think that must be what happened, because he told me there were 2 games left for Sporting. And apparently they've won the championship. So I'm guessing that means Benfica lost.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. He was
runners up. You might say in a league situation like this, and there it is, champions.
Yes.
SCP. For some reason I was calling them SLP. Sorry about that. SCP, Sporting Club de Portugal. Sporting, of course, as they're known as a single word, and everyone knows what you're talking about. Unlike us,
yes,
who knows anything about football?
It's the only green Sidonio likes.
I see. Not vegetables, not salad.
Not vegetables. No produce that is green.
That's his only green that he'll allow anywhere near him. Very good.
But Sporting, yes.
And our mate Nuno is a Sporting fan as well, of course. So
yes, Nuno as well.
He's delighted.
So 2 people very close to me are big Sporting fans, and apparently Sporting has not done very well in previous years. So it's quite a thrilling thing to happen.
Well, they were making up for it last night, the fans, going up and around the town, hooting their horns, which is, you just know someone's either got married, there's been an election victory, or a favourite team has just won something. And that's what was happening last night. So what you been up to? How you been? How's your week been?
Like every week, sometimes it's like I imagine the presentation of what my week has been like can get boring to the people listening. To me, it's thrilling. I'm thrilled to be able to report every week that it's fantastic and amazing, and I'm continue to love being here. I'm realizing that all my choices, by virtue of being mindful about those choices to be here, are working out fabulously. So I couldn't be happier. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe I could be, but I'm very happy being here. Yes.
That's not a bad invitation, is it? And I know there's something called access consciousness. And I think that's one of their questions is like, how could this be any better? And not complain, but like, okay, there's a little bit more headroom in it. Let's go for it. Why not?
And if something comes to mind, why not do that then?
Exactly.
Make it even better. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. So
as opposed to what else can go wrong?
Yes, what else could possibly go wrong today? What could go right today? And how could this day get even better? It's not a bad question to have standing by, even if you feel like you've already maxed out, which it sounds like you haven't, and remain utterly grateful for your life here in Portugal, James.
Absolutely, yes. Every time I got into a habit, or not a habit, but I developed kind of a rote response to the question, how are you? Because I realized that was up to me. It wasn't up to my circumstances. It wasn't up to the fact that I was late for work and my shoelace broke and my car broke down and all this stuff happened before I got to work. That does not determine how I am in this moment. And I got to figuring that out and ultimately figured, well, I'm going to change my rule about it, because there really is no rule. At least I haven't seen the book yet that has all the laws about answering how are you. But I said, rather than basing it on my past, which may or may not be, or especially my recent past, may or may not be positive, I'm going to base it on what I anticipate, project, and plan for my future. So when someone asks me, it actually cues me to think about, what's this future I'm creating for myself? And that makes me feel really good every time I think of it. So every time someone says, how's it going in Portugal, or how's your week been, that kind of thing, it affords me the opportunity to just take that moment and look and say, man, this is amazing. Because we can get into the routine of things and forget, like why we even came. We're just living life now, and I don't want that to happen. I want to look out my door every day and see the blue sky with the clouds passing by and the wind blowing in the trees and go, man, this is amazing.
Yes.
I don't want to take it for granted, but that takes consciousness and intention.
That's why you're here every Monday morning and like, there is a part of us, isn't it? That, well, we know this. And even though we know it, it doesn't mean we necessarily do it. So I'm glad you're here every Monday with that little reminder to take a little pause and to answer that question or
And
to
to,
read.
to be transparent, I mean, sometimes there's this image of, oh, this guy just does this all the time. No, I forget too. I wake up and I have days where I'm not noticing and I'm not feeling that joy. What I'm saying is, when I wake up, in those moments, I realize, ooh, where's the joy? Where's the excitement, or the gratitude for the life I'm living? It's like, oh, I haven't really called it up. I haven't brought it into my awareness. Let me do that now. And then I do it and I go, whoa, right? But it's not like every minute of every day of my life I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful for this moment and everything that's happened. And it's not it. And I don't know that we can sustain that. But
well, it's an interesting
remember
question.
To call it up.
Yes, well, it's a fascinating question. It is one that me and Mrs. M were pondering in the last 48 hours, I'm sure. Is it possible to be happy all the time? Because we're talking about our new show called The Moment, where we take a moment to do exactly what you and I do here on a Monday. We're going to be doing that on a new American-based online TV station that's starting up. And we're going to be part of that. And that's the thing, isn't it? I guess you could ask that question, which presumably humans have been asking since time began. Is it possible to be happy all the time? And technically, theoretically, yes, of course it is. But from our own experience and the observation of others, we can see that doesn't tend to happen. And we also have the means, as you say, to at will check to see if we are or not. That's really what we can do at any given moment, isn't it? To see if that's where we're at and whether we're happy or not.
Yeah, and no state is permanent.
Right.
And so, I would say theoretically, sure, you could be anything all the time. But at some point, because we're living a life of contrast, we're living a life of relationship to other things, that we only can really fully experience happiness when we know what unhappiness feels like. It's if all we were was happy ever, from the day we were born to the day we died, we wouldn't recognize it as a thing.
But it would still be enjoyable, would it not? I mean, I'm fascinated by that question.
I don't know. I don't know. I think the enjoyment of something so often is a result of overcoming something.
Yeah, or the memory of its opposite, perhaps.
Yeah, and so that's, I think, what elicits the chemical response, which is all it is. I mean, you can really get boring about that and say, oh, it's just all brain chemistry and nothing matters. It's just what chemicals are flowing in your body. It's like, okay, some people will take that position, but I really believe, that sense, that joy that the Sporting fans are feeling is because they've been losing for so long. They finally won. Yeah. If they win every year, it's like, all right, go guys, do it again. But that utter, just overwhelming enthusiasm and joy is the result of the pain they've been experiencing, not getting it, getting close, seeing them almost there and then lose it, that kind of thing. I think that's one of the appeals of sports and competition is that exact dynamic. I think life is that too. I mean, I couldn't be, I can't say for certain, but I don't believe that I could be as grateful for the life I have if I hadn't had significant, real, deep, painful challenges in the past. It's like, I recognize that sucked, and I'm not having that now, and that's great, and I love that. But I have to remember that it hasn't always been that, to find the place where I can really sit, really truly embrace that joy and that vim and vigor for life. So, could we be happy all the time? Probably. I don't know that we would experience it quite as fully as we do if we get it from time to time.
Well, as you say, James, it's very unlikely we're ever going to be doing that experiment, because within our human nature and the way that this dynamic that we find ourselves in seems to work, nothing does last forever, which is beautiful as well, isn't it? Because not even pain lasts forever. When there is nothing at all lasts forever. Well, you could argue that life itself might last forever, but our own individual experience of it that clearly would appear to come to
and then it depends on what time scale you're working. If you're working cosmic time, it's like, well,
always
life started somehow and it's going to end somehow.
But
We don't know when.
But did it? Anyway, let's not go there this morning.
That's right. We want to get, but ultimately, yes, in the course of a human lifespan, we're not going to experience.
No,
you know,
right. Yeah.
the end
Well,
of
I'm
that.
always on cosmic time, I'd like to point out. And can there be joy in this is the sort of conversation people tend to have at 2 a.m, isn't it? Whilst thinking, I wonder if there's anything to eat in the fridge. Can there be joy in being bored? Of course, says Nubinet. Good morning to you this morning. Who also says, in relation to, and I think you've got something to add to this about whether cats should be roaming free and killing birds or not. Bondia, yes, cats kill a lot of the natural animals in the environment. So people say to keep them in the house. Would that be your strategy with the destructive nature of cats?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And it's informed. It comes from having developed a real enjoyment of observing and learning a little bit about birds in the wild environment. And as a course of that, I have read information. Everything I know about it is from the United States. I'm assuming it carries over to most modern developed areas of the world. But so I do want to throw that caveat on that the information I have is based in the United States, and virtually every endangered bird species that migrates across the U.S., the continental Americas, are endangered by virtue of how many cats kill them every year.
Is that right? I didn't realize.
Yes. Hundreds of millions. I mean, we're not talking about 5 or 10. If you have one cat who brings you 3 birds a year, and there are 10 million cats, there's 3 million birds that have been brought to individual people's homes by cats.
Yeah,
It's
not
a
to
lot
mention
of
all the other
birds.
critters. Yeah, and that's as Nubinet says, a lot of other critters as well, right? That are brought in, little voles and shrews and mice and stuff.
Well, and the thing is that, you know, for things like rats, animals like rats, I love rats, by the way, but they're so plentiful. There's no danger that rats are going to go extinct by cats hunting them and killing them. Yeah. And in terms of that pragmatic help, and I think that's one of the reasons people really, there's a point of view. Domestic cats indoors are not farmers. They're people who have other professions, but people who own property where the rats are destroying what they produce, or the rats are getting into, or whatever it is, they want animals that will root them out and kill them, or at least scare them away. And that makes sense to me.
Yes.
But birds rarely fall into that category. Birds will eat the fruit on trees almost the second that it gets just perfectly ripe, by the way. I've noticed that. It's like, ooh, that plum, I'll get it tomorrow. And the next day the birds have decimated it. It's like, oh, they knew. They knew what I knew.
Should be locked up as well then.
Maybe, yeah, who knows? But we have ways of dealing, you know, if we're producing crops, they're finding, you know, there's ways to deal with that, putting nets over trees and whatever else. But what I found out about bells on cats, for instance, where it makes sense. Oh, it'll make a sound and that will alert the birds. Well, the adult birds, having survived to adulthood, already know about cats. I watch them all the time out my window. We have a cat that wanders the property, and it thinks it's going to hunt the birds, and the birds see it coming and they jump up on the fence and they just look at it, and then they move around and the cat follows them and they kind of go, all the birds, the adult birds know. So they're less in danger. It's the young birds that are just nestlings, that are just coming out of the nest, just learning how to fly, not as alert to their environment. Those are the ones that are in danger. And a bell doesn't.
They haven't got a
bell
clue.
Doesn't alert them. It does no good whatsoever.
Oh, what's that lovely bell sound? Ah,
they might even move toward it out of curiosity. Ooh, what's that?
Yes. And the other thing about bells on cats is they have to be on a little collar, don't they? As well. And sometimes cats come to harm by being stuck on a tree by their collar or whatever. I've heard of that as well. I don't know how big it is.
Yeah, well, and that's the risk of cats or any animal that you put a collar on, is it has to be tight enough. They can't just pull themselves out of it, but it can't be so tight that it chokes them if they get stuck.
Or gets caught on something. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that can be a challenge. Louisa is constantly replacing the collar on her cat because even as tight as she can make it that feels safe, he can still pull himself out of it if he wants to, which ultimately you want to happen, but he does it on purpose.
Yeah.
He's like, get this thing off me. So yeah, so those are my words on
Very
birds.
interesting. I mean, but if you keep the cat in the house, it can't go and poop in your neighbor's garden, can it? So
no, but I've seen videos of cats have been trained to use a toilet and flush it. So I mean, cats can be trained.
some children can't. Some
People
children
don't
can't.
bother because they can be difficult to train. But I've seen some videos of people who have taken the time to train their cats to do all kinds of really amazing things on command, just like dogs. They just have a different attitude about it.
Yes.
So being indoors is not harmful to the cat because cats are naturally curious. I mean, just watch them with a piece of dust fluff on the floor. It'll become a wild animal they're chasing, and they're going to pounce on it and kill it, and whatever. So if you're weighing the good and the bad or the evils or whatever of certain things, keeping a cat indoors is provided an enriching environment, which means lots of places to climb. They love to get up high, so accommodating them for an indoor environment is, I think, less damaging than hundreds of millions of endangered birds getting killed by domestic cats, people that own them.
Very interesting.
In the past, some people said, oh, well, we'll declaw them, and that's just cruel. I mean, that'd be like someone cutting your fingers off. You can't use your hands now. And cats can't protect themselves from things that are attacking them. So that is horrible. That's not a remedy. But I believe that the most sensible for domestic cats, not working cats per se, is to keep them indoors and keep them happy.
I saw somebody who'd done that. I went to a house viewing. I was asked to go to a house viewing with somebody, and the estate agent was there saying, look, you've got to be careful because the cat can't come out. We've got to get in the house before the cat runs out. So we did that. And I think there were a couple of cats that lived there, and they had automated food because actually the owners of the house were away, and the whole house, when they weren't at their house, the cats lived there completely by remote control. I'm guessing they had it did occur to me that our whole viewing would have been watched by the owners of the house over their security system as well. But that's probably what they watch their cats with. And they can see their cats with their automated food delivery system and water delivery system and the pooping facilities as well, all viewable by remote means by the owners. Quite an extraordinary time we live in when this has happened with domesticated animals. And yes, 1 million. Look, Portugal has roughly 1 million free roaming animals, mostly cats, who are clearly. Yes, I think who was saying this recently about wildlife in Portugal. If that's the case, if there are 1 million mostly cats roaming freely, that will have had a massive dent on the bird population, won't it? And maybe why we don't see as many birds as we might like. But mainland Portugal, according to the resident here, has more than 930,000. That's quite a long way off 1 million, but I know they want a headline. 930,000 free roaming animals, including 830,541 cats. And that's a very specific number, James, is it not? And over
counted each one personally.
Sounds like it. And just over 100,000 dogs, according to a census. It was conducted by the University of Aveiro and financed by the Environmental Fund. Data from the GNR is in this, compiled in the study and related to road accidents, reveals that cars hit 4,640 animals between a certain period. Wow. And with regard to other incidents, like attacks by stray animals, only 7.2% of people answering questions said they had been attacked by stray dogs. 5.9%. You get attacked by stray cats. What? Respondents also showed that animals found wandering are frequently helped with food and water, less so with shelter. A lot of that goes on, doesn't it? There are a lot of projects to feed stray cats in Portugal, and also a lot of projects actually to neuter them as well. So quite the thing, quite the topical thing, quite the national thing to be talking about this morning. And I imagine among other things that you wanted to share with us this morning, Bayrandi what a glorious morning. Hope you all had a smashing weekend. Did you make it? You did make it to the beer festival, didn't you, Bayrandi? How was it for you? And yes, we've got your mindful. Let's not forget these, James. Okay, let's go to your mindful memory and moments. So please voice this.
The mindful moment made sense to me. I mean, it's relevant to what we're talking about. As soon as we wish to be happier, we are no longer happy.
Yep, I get that. Yep.
And
So
that's true of anything that we say we want. The word want means it's absent. You want
Yes.
for it. It's not in your life. So if you want something, you're reaffirming you don't have it.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Walter Landor. Who's he?
I don't know. I find the quotes, and I like that they cite the author, but I oftentimes don't know who the authors are.
You do find some people we've not heard of so much, but with some pithy things to say, that's for sure. And your mindful dad joke du jour, please.
Today, I will be posting telepathically. If you find yourself laughing for no apparent reason, that was me. You're welcome.
Very good. Actually, this is more appropriate, isn't it? There it is. Now, if you're giggling,
one of those electro wah, 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 wah.
Brilliant. And visual memory. Carl Jung is with us this morning. I better take that comment off the screen.
And he's not that young. Another dad joke.
Not young anymore. Right. Oh, he had to put up with that from his students. Right.
I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become.
Dr. Young, welcome to the show this morning. Very good. Yeah. And so true. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Like you were saying, how you respond to the broken shoelace or the vehicle breaking down first thing in the morning. And not only, but also...
Really dear. The fact that jellyfish have survived for 650 million years without brains gives hope to many people.
That's naughty. That's naughty.
But I like that it doesn't name, particular people.
We're all doing our best.
That general group of people who will be very relieved to know that.
Yes, everyone's doing their best. Come on,
although they probably wouldn't know it. So.
You got this. Okay. How in the blue blazes? What a fabulous turn of phrase. How in the blue blazes can you count cats in any reliable way? Exactly. They don't sit still, do they, to be counted? We know this about cats, don't we, in a way that a dog might. And
it's as difficult as herding them.
Yes.
Not herd no. Like cattle.
D with a D, herding with a D. Can't stray cats feed themselves? Well, I suppose they can, but they choose to wait and turn their nose up at food brought to them by well-meaning human beings, I think.
Cats are generally pretty intelligent. If they can get free food handed to them that tastes really great by humans who are willing to do it, they'll do that before they'll have to go hunt and try and rummage through garbage, but they can do it.
And T-Duck was saying this yesterday. I think there's a vehicle near him that's been reappropriated as a cat shelter, a dumped car, and cats live in it in a neighborhood of Lisbon. And there are bowls full of uneaten food because the cats are so intelligent there. They just think, well, I don't like prawn and avocado kibbles. I prefer salmon. Smoked salmon with cream cheese, and I'll be waiting until the next human brings that along for me. And they just hang out, lie in the sun, and wait for the salmon-flavored kibbles to turn up.
Or they'll find the restaurant that serves a lot of salmon, or whatever the fishermen who bring them. They're smart animals.
Yep,
they survive for a reason.
They seem to. Hola, bon dia. It's Flower Festival time in Madeira. Good morning to you, Aviva. Lovely to have you here. And thumbs up on Monday from Deagle this morning, who also said, by the way, the webcam on the gateway to the Algarve got fixed. It was down from the 20th of March, and it was expected to be up on 18th of April. How difficult can it be? It got fixed on the 4th of May, different live shots of Fisherman's Beach there. Thank you very much for that. Have you got a link to it as well, Deagle? Because that'd be cool if you have. And I had a great time at the beer festival. Unfortunately, missed a couple of gumpers. See if you can hit them next time. But met lots of other expats. Fantastic. Good time had by all in Aveiro. When's the next one coming up, you craft beer drinkers? Is it the Lourinhã one that James was telling us about? And Michael Barton, sorry, mate, our guest left later than me. He's trying to, oh, yeah, that's right. I saw those messages. We can't get rid of our guests. We'll be there later. Fantastic. And I've got to move that flower pot on top of my head, I think, later on. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Balancing a flower pot on top of my head. So what was it you actually wanted to talk about this morning, James?
Oh, it's been so rich. There's so much stuff that came in. Louisa was asking me last night, so what do you think you'll talk about tomorrow? I said, I haven't figured that out yet. And then in about the span of, I saw your article I said, oh, that'd be great stuff to talk about. And then the comments have been coming in, stuff about cats, all this stuff. It's like, wow, we're just rich with stuff.
We are.
And speaking of being loaded with material, the last couple of weeks have been very language full, concentrated. So I haven't done my one thing I've learned. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I could do that today if we don't have another language thing going on.
We don't. I've gone very quiet about language because I've really messed up. I was crowing about the boot camp and how important it is, and I completely messed up. It's funny, isn't it? You kind of make it a focus.
You mess up?
I've got behind, like the man who sat on the bacon slicer. I've got behind with it, and I've got a bit panicked. So I'm going to get a big talking to from either. Well, I think it's probably going to be Daddy Vitor is going to give me a talking to at some point. But actually, some of it is going in, and it is an amazing course that they're running, and we're into week 2 at the moment. But maybe it's all kind of old school stuff. You know, I've got the best of intentions, but when it starts looking anything like school or organized, the rebel in me has risen up. Because I'm not doing that. So I've sabotaged myself a little bit, but I shall look into that.
Well, and that experience of falling behind is very usual. It happens a lot in academics that proceed to grow on the previous information. You know, you miss one assignment, then you go, oh, now I have to catch up, and that's more work. And so now it's 2 assignments, and then, oh, I'm so far behind, I might as well just quit. And that happens to almost every school year with many, many, many students. They come in with the best of intention. I'm going to do all my work. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to hand it in on time, and I'm not going to get behind this year. And it doesn't happen that way. So
that's exactly what's happened. Yes.
The trick is, how do we get past that? And one of them, the first one, so I commend you on that, is owning it. Oops.
Yeah.
I stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And you know, so you own it, and then you go to who's supposed to be helping you, say, how can I get myself caught up?
That's what I'll do.
How do I get caught up?
Yeah, it's all gone to cock. My own little effort to share a little bit of Portuguese every morning, get people talking. That's got a little bit wonky. And what I'm doing with Vitor and Maria has gone a bit wonky too. But as you say, I'm owning it. I'll get back on track with that today. And yes, well said. I think I should just ask for help. That'll be the next step. And I'm sure I'll get some, because she is an experienced teacher. And Daddy Vitor will be standing in the background with his slipper as well.
Yeah, just notice if there's a slipper in the area. Just get ready. Just be ready.
Yeah, what was it? There was a slipper, the belt, number of Portuguese child rearing implements of back in the day, not current, not in current usage. Well, maybe they are, but not as popular as they used to be, perhaps. You mentioned the article here, James. Did you like this?
I did, for a number of reasons. I mean, I take your point and fully agree with the notion that you tend to find what you're looking for.
Yes.
And so and a lot of, well, sometimes what you're looking for is more of the same, and sometimes what you're looking for is the opposite. But either way, it's the thing you hold in your thoughts that tends to manifest. So if you're trying to get away from all that crap, you're probably going to find all that crap, because all that crap is what is in your mind. If you're looking for what the experience that I shared earlier, then you're likely to find that, because you're going to be more likely to look for it and see it and identify it and hold that in your brain. I'm looking, continue to look for all the great stuff. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely agree with that aspect of it. I found it was interesting because when you gave the 2 examples of the person who said, yeah, where we came from is all this, and we're trying to get away from it, and it was ugly and horrible and blah, blah, blah. And the answer was, well, you're likely to find that here too. And then the other one was, everything was so great in our community before, and people got along, and and your answer was, you're likely to find that here too. And I totally got the point. But when I looked at it, I said, that's not really my experience, because I was aware of the things that were not working for me where I came from. And I made a conscious choice to do something about that and to change it. I think the difference there is that I'd done enough of my own work to understand that I get whatever I take with me. So if I don't want to take this experience that I don't like with me. I have to understand what's going on in this experience.
Yes.
And understand what it is I'm attempting to create, what I'm consciously creating, and then take what I'm creating with me. And I did all that work before making the move, and it wasn't based on someone else's experience. How's it been for you? That's irrelevant to me or anyone else. It was great for me. Well, it wasn't for me. So well, of course. I mean, obviously, you're not me. I'm not you. So I didn't base my choices on someone answering the question, is Portugal right for me? I made that choice. I made that decision, but I did it by doing the research, more or less. I found Good Morning Portugal. I found a community that was having similar experiences. And what's going on there? Is that something I could align with? You know, because if I can align with it, then I can create it. That kind of thing. I was more aware without ever having stepped foot in Portugal. I made a decision to move here based on everything I had consciously and mindfully considered, which was mostly, what am I up to and why?
Well said. And that's the difference, I think. You mentioned two words there: conscious decision. The point I'm making, and none of, you know, you have a certain amount of words and you have a certain point to make when you're writing an article, and none of these things, like everything passes, like we were saying before. No article or point or philosophy is going to be true for all moments. You know, it's just useful in the moment or not. And I think what I'm hearing from you is, if you have made a conscious decision to leave those things, that's very different to being quietly attached to the drama that your old situation provided for you. And if you haven't noticed that, if you actually in some way are addicted to drama and the circumstances you're proclaiming to want to be free of, but actually you get quite a lot out of being attracted and attached to the drama of that situation, you may
being a victim.
Yeah, you might find that in the new place, mightn't you? You might recreate that without that conscious.
Yeah, I'd said likely to.
which is the word I use. You're likely to find that.
Yes,
You're likely to find
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I say I fully got your point and agree with that. That if people aren't, it's what got me more engaged in it is, why am I noticing that I'm kind of having a conflicting difference on what's in front of me? Because I agree with that. But I was that, but I'm here. So what's different? And for me, it was about my own process. It was about me doing my work to figure it out, and to figure it out in a way that was consistent with the choices I'm making. There's that notice it, choose it, and then act on it. And because of that, I'm getting the result that I was anticipating, because I did the work in advance. And again, I wasn't dependent on someone else's experience. I mean, it can be it can be informative. You know, if you ask 100 people and they all say, oh, it's crap. It's like, oh, well, okay, maybe I need to look a little closer. Yeah, maybe I need to look a little closer at this. But generally what you get is 50-50. You know, some more or less, but you'll get, for as many people who love it, you're going to find people who don't. So now what do I base my decision on? It can't be their experience.
Look within. And that's this week's article, actually. I've written up about my conversation that I had with Marion Guerre, who's encouraging people to use the Wheel of Life analysis. So I'm writing about that. And and it is, you know, she takes people on hikes. And it's not just a hike outside in the beautiful Portuguese countryside. It's a hike internally as well. A quick word before we have Colin join us. Tig can't join us this morning. She's got something that's come up. She'll be with us next Monday, and we'll squeeze her in next Monday to talk about post-Brexit Britishness. But we've got Bob and Viv responding to being on the boot camp. I'm already more comfortable. I think it's his Bob. After just 1 week in Maria's boot camp. Sounds great when put like that. Concepts and pronunciations are both greatly improved, and a store clerk that used to be dour or doer cheered up and helped. There you go. How about that? You created a new reality down the shops there.
In Portuguese, it would be dor.
Duro.
Dor.
Maria's boot camp. How about that? Dur, dour, yes. Well done. Well done, Bob and Viv, on that, whichever one of you that is. Let's play his theme music before we bring him on this morning. This man is like my prom date. He's going to be outside my house in about an hour's time, hooting his horn, beckoning me into his beautiful ride. I don't know what the dress code is for this particular road trip that we're going on, Colin. Is it going to be more of this? I wonder. Mrs. M is hoping not, because that could get us in some trouble in central Portugal. Let's chat to Colin.
Well, I would never hoot my horn if I was picking up a prom date. I would go to the door.
Oh, very good. Yeah, yes, proper gentleman. We'll ask Colin how he's going to be.
Beep, beep, come on. We're going to the prom.
In just a moment after this. Well, the big question then, Colin, is: Are you going to be honking your hooter, or will you be coming up and gently caressing the knocker?
You made me realise that I should be bringing a big bunch of flowers.
Yes, that's more like it. You know the way to a
corsage. Yes.
Corsage. Oh my goodness, this is becoming
I think that's a French word.
How are you this morning to the bay, Colin?
Here at 73, all I can find to take away for a night is a good mate.
A hairy guy. Well, we'll still have some fun. We're hitting the open road, aren't we? Today we're going on a road trip to Vizia.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Well, let me tell you the history of this, because I saw a YouTube video of a well-respected UK reporter, or should I say car journalist, and he did a video, and it included this particular road called the N232.
Ooh.
And he said that it's the best road in Europe. And this is a guy who's driven all the, the Stelvio Pass and all these things that people go on and on about in Italy, and various ones in the Alps. So he's come up with this, that it's the best. So I thought to myself, yeah, my car would be very nice around such roads. I'll organize a trip. And I'd mention it to a couple of mates here. And yeah, Colin will come with you. Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, fortuitously, Ian came up with this road trip, and he said he was actually going to be on the doorstep. So that's how it actually came about. And I said, right, that's the one. And of course, it just so happens that the two mates who really wanted to come, one's at a wedding in Edinburgh and returns tomorrow, and the other one, his wife's away, and she doesn't return until late tomorrow afternoon. So
hold on a minute. This really is like a prom date now. Am I the third choice? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. But what I was trying to do
is, James, it sounds a bit like it to me, doesn't it?
No, I was trying to get two other cars to go along as well. Okay. So it would be not just you and I
I'm only kidding. I'm glad to be on the road. I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong.
I'm glad you finally asked.
I'm glad you finally asked. Exactly. I've been waiting all these years.
Yeah. So I was hoping to get that white one along.
Yeah. Well, here's something else you organised, and this is becoming quite apparent. You are the incredible organizer. If you want something organised, Gumper Gatherings, Colin's your man. And this is the lineup here. We're going to be going in the red and vroomy one, aren't we? Second from the left, which is the same as the car in white. It's the same vehicle, but we're going in the red one. Yeah. We're going to be driving with Ian in the blue Porsche, and that was the big one on the end there. Was the Corolla Cross that Rui at Caetano Toyota very kindly lent us on the celebration of the Carnation Revolution. So that was a nice little lineup, and we'll expect more. Whoa, look at that kind of imagery for us, those people interested in vehicles, as a result of this wonderful trip that you've planned for us. So well done. I'm really looking forward to this. Can you tell us more about this particular road then that you've identified?
Well, it basically, looking at it on a map, there isn't a straight bit on it. So
Right.
Perfect.
Yes. All right. So it's a wonky
that's all I
road
know, really.
with elevations,
Yeah,
I
hopefully-
suspect, and beautiful scenery.
All kinds of
Hopefully-
opportunities to go over the side and die.
Oh, stop it, James. Mrs. M's worried enough already. I mean, the prom date parallels. I mean, she's like my parents. Like, you know, she's going to come out and give you a talking to as well, Colin, on the curbside, and so you will look after him, won't you? And you know, you're not going to be inappropriate and all that sort of
She's
stuff.
going to put you in a Michelin costume.
I tend to pride myself in being a very safe driver.
And an utter gentleman.
I wouldn't do anything in a car that would scare people. It's
On
not
any
right.
level. On any level.
No.
Okay,
I
fair
mean,
enough. Good.
You know, I did do some racing, but I was always at the back. So
I've heard that about the car as well, though. In our language, we are
but I used to say to sponsors, you know, why are you sponsoring the team at the front? Why don't you sponsor me? People see me for longer.
Very good. Did they bite on that?
Funnily
enough, no. In our language class, we're deep in the weeds with conjugation of verbs such as ter and ser. It's hard, but I actually enjoy it. Hard, but who doesn't like it hard, but actually enjoyable first thing in the morning? And looking forward to seeing your self-defining wine tonight, Carl. So we've got this ahead of us tonight as well, Colin. I was going to choose Bagaceira for mine, but I don't think that I'm rough and unlikable. So thanks, Byron.
I think we should be, out of courtesy, be drinking Hughes wine.
Well, this is where we're going. So tell us about this as well. Then, so we're staying with Hugh.
Hugh and Jane, yes, who bought this property and completely redeveloped it, and have turned it into a gem. Really, it's an area where, you know, people can stay and go to. He does guided tours of the Douro and things like that.
The where, James? I think we need your help here.
Well, see, you and I have an agreement. Colin and I don't have that, so I don't want to just jump in there.
Colin's open to a pronunciation tip or two, aren't you? We know what you mean.
Okay, so that would be just the opposite. Douro, not Douro.
And this, what an amazing location to be going to the Douro. And he makes his own wine, you say, as well. Is that right?
Makes his own wine. I mean, it's just like going to a friend's house. They just are so brilliant with you. You know, everything. They can't do enough for you.
Love the sound of that. Fantastic. This is going to be quite the overnighter for me. I'm always crying here.
Yes. Yeah. They've already said that there's bread and cheese, fresh bread and cheese waiting for us when we arrive. And,
fantastic.
And,
wow. Thank you so much for organising this. And then there's the vehicles. Yep. Okay. Have you tried his wine before?
Oh, yes. It's very good.
Is it?
Very
okay. So
indeed.
drop into taste. Look at this.
Yeah.
The good life here. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay.
I mean, he had a business in the UK. I think it was smoking fish. And,
which always sounds funny to me, doesn't it? It just sounds like somebody's got a haddock and they're just like, can't get anything out of this. Yeah. Are these low tar? Yeah.
He's the haddock itself having a smoke.
And that business, I think, was near Abergavenny in Wales, South Wales.
Nice. Beautiful part of Wales. Yeah. Okay.
And then they decided to come over, like many of us do, and buy this massive house and turn it into a bed and breakfast.
Fantastic. And we'll be broadcasting from there tomorrow. And the wine club will be coming from there tonight. So if I can ask you then, this is the idea of the wine club tonight. Bring a wine that represents you. Full-bodied, aged and sour, dense and complex, tight and juicy, or sexy and sparkling. Which Portuguese wine would sum you up the best, do you think, Colin? And you know I'm coming to you in a moment, James.
Yes, I'd like to say the last one, but...
Sexy and sparkling.
Not at all. No, not at all.
A nice chili espumante. aged and what was that? I can't remember what I said now, but yeah, okay, so aged and mature and complex, perhaps.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, let's go with that. James, what about you?
Well, when I first saw it, I said, I'm definitely the darker two.
Right, but no specific brand in mind then, not
Asian,
Latin
sour,
rose.
and dense and complex.
Right. But depending on the occasion, of course. Yeah, as
Yeah.
wine should be situational.
I wouldn't call myself tight and juicy or sexy
Not
and
anymore.
sparkling. Well, maybe sexy and sparkling. I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay.
But
It depends on the moment, doesn't it? Okay.
yes.
Well, I'm so looking forward to this road trip. What do we know about Visieux as well, then, Colin? Because that's a place that doesn't get talked about a lot. Buddy was saying what a beautiful place it is. Do you know it very well?
I don't. I've been there once. It has its nice parts, like every town in Portugal.
Yes.
With the cobbled stones and pavements that you can break your neck on, and
all kinds of danger on this trip for you, Carl.
Yeah, Mrs. Ems, let's talk it up a bit, shall we? Because if she's watching, she's not going to be liking the sound of that. But okay, how romantic? Take protection for the car, that is, on those windy roads. Thank you, Bradley.
Yeah.
You're not helping either.
Just like a prom date.
We would. Well, I think that's organised. Where are the tutus? Allegedly they were in the back of your car to be given to me.
They're in the back of my car, ready for your children.
For my kids, yeah, okay, whatever. How about when it comes back to wine? How about simple and uncomplicated? But what would that be? That would be a sort of a crispy white wine, wouldn't it? Simple and uncomplicated. He's not talking about you. I don't think he's talking about you there, João Ernesto. I think that might be autobiographical, in a good way there. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, and we're going to be meeting Coach Turner, of course. I mean, what a journey! What a beautiful moto! And how's it going with the editing skills? You're going to be putting together the videos now, aren't you? How's it going with that?
Yeah, I'm failing because each time I try to do something, it won't let me, or I end up with no sound, or
oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been playing, and it's trying to defeat me, which is surprising because. I've listened to enough videos about how to do it, and it all sounds so simple.
Life's like that sometimes.
What's that saying? You can't read a book to learn to ride a bike, that kind of thing. You just got to do it.
James is not
fail and hurt yourself, and eventually figure it out.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, now, hello,
James.
Jane.
So looking forward to meeting you later on today. Jane here, looking forward to seeing you later. That's wonderful. And your beautiful, beautiful home and establishment there. And looking forward to doing the wine club and the breakfast show tomorrow morning from there. Jane, is there anything we can bring you from the Silver Coast? Do let us know. And Chow must leave early. Tintin has a vet appointment. We're talking. You'll have something to say about this, Colin. This might stir the pot of controversy because we were talking about the amount of strays in Portugal, and generally speaking, the amount of damage cats do when they're out in the wild. Do cats in or out with yours?
All out. Well,
so
we
they
have
all go
one. We have one that sort of puts its paws outside and then comes back in
by its own choice.
It prefers to be in than out.
Yes,
as most of us do. And
oh dear. Okay, yeah. But generally speaking, and what about bells? Do you agree with the bells theory?
The problem with putting a collar on a cat is because they burrow into fences and hedges and things. They can get caught. So that's the reason we don't. As you know, we have 7 cats, and I think in the last year we've probably seen 1 dead bird. And
okay, so not too much of an issue. That may be because there are no other birds in the area, but you're making the point that they're not that.
And maybe they're not bringing them all home.
Also, another 7 strays and another 10 down the other end, and because they're well fed, they're looking better. They're they're getting over all the ailments that a proper stray unfed cat would suffer. They only have about life expectancy of about 3 years.
Really? Is that right for a street cat?
Yeah, 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas, it's not unusual. I mean, we've got 17-year-olds here, and we had, before we moved here, we had a 22-year-olds.
Blimey, okay. That's such a stark difference, isn't it? And you are, I mean, joking aside, you really are, your household, you're doing your bit with stray cats. So you got 7 of your own, and you take care of another 10 out in the wild. Did you say?
Yeah, and there's 3 upstairs in the bathroom that are being 3 kittens that are being fostered until they're old enough to be housed.
Wow, so you really are doing your bit. What if for anyone else who wants to do that, who's looking at this situation thinking, well, I've got to get involved, what's the best way to start?
Well, in the UK, it's always cat protection, but here they have, in Peniche, they have the Kitten Connection. They're always looking for people to help out. And the program really is to catch them, neuter them, and return to the wild.
Okay.
So all the cats here have been caught, they've been done, and that will be the end of it, because one cat can make 5,000. You know, the tree could be 5,000 from one cat.
Yeah. Even in a 3-year lifespan, that's a lot of kittens if there's no neutering or spaying going on.
I mean, 3 is probably the minimum. At 5 to 7, I suppose, is more likely. But because, quite honestly, most of them get fed. I mean, there used to be, before you arrived in Ericeira, James, there used to be, when you looked over the Fisherman's Beach with that big wall, there used to be cats all the way along on the ledge. There used to be probably 25, 30 of them, and people were putting takeaway containers with food in for them, and they were all obviously down with the fishermen, trying to get the
catch and the gulls.
Yeah, amazing.
So significant improvement then, because I think there's maybe 3 that wander around there now. So that's considerably less.
There must have been 25, 30 of them. I mean, one day we parked up in Ericeira, and as we got out of the car, there was this cardboard box with 5 kittens in it, screaming.
Oh.
So we took them to the vet, and I think
oh, bless you.
One of them survived. The rest were all gone.
Didn't make it. Dear.
Well,
there's the thing to do then. The emphasis is on
you. It was a young vet, and she was crying.
Was she? Oh dear, what a shame. What a shame.
So the idea is to, make sure that all the cats that you can have been done, because then the problem goes away. And I mean, the dog thing is also from about 8 years ago. They stopped the general hunting. So in 10, 15 years ago, a lot of country houses you went past, they'd have a big metal cage outside, and they'd have 7 or 8 little brown dogs in them that were their hunting dogs, and they were caged until they went hunting. And then when they stopped the hunting, they just let the dogs go.
Okay, and they were just free and then mating and doing their thing and boosting up the stray population. Wow.
But I think that problem is, because they're now stopped the hunting, and shelters have come around. I mean, for instance, around here we've got Crapper, which is a horrible name for a dog centre, but
it's true though.
Crapper and the Kitten Connection are full of animals. Fortunately, places like the Book Exchange that have free books, they ask people to put a donation in for either the Kitten Connection, the Crapper, or even the Soup Kitchen, which is run in Caldas.
For the humans. Wow. Okay. Well, and of course, a lot of animals were set free during the pandemic as well, weren't they? When people felt unable to look after their pets. A few ended up on the street as well, and people got pets that they felt they couldn't look after at that time as well.
Exactly. That was the problem. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, looking forward to this road trip, Colin. Let's have a quick look at Visieux then, of which Andy says, love Visieux. My sister-in-law works there. Great walk along the disused railway line. So we've got that we can do hand in hand as well, should we choose later on. You can see on the map here where it is. We're heading up country, aren't we, to central northern Portugal. And there are some lovely scenes here. and that lovely big landmark building there. That's a bit of a landmark for Visieux. I'm not sure exactly what that particular building is. I imagine Jane will be able to tell us, and we're looking forward to being in the company of Jane and Hugh a little bit later on, and we'll make sure for anyone who wants to stay there, why not book a stay at their wonderful place? That is minola.co.uk. Our cat says, Bayrandi, Joaquinha abandoned, I suspect, by a dustbin 14 years ago. Is a totally outdoor cat. She mainly catches mice and rats, and I think I have inadvertently become the patron saint of bin cats. What a lovely title that is. Our cat, says Gary, turned out to be a better ratter than any Jack Russell. Trouble is, he likes to share them with us. Yeah, it's a present. That's the thing, isn't it?
Look what I found.
Look at this lovely rat.
Just for you.
Enjoy. What do you mean you don't like it? Do you get those sort of presents, Colin, from time to time?
No, that's what I'm saying. We haven't had it at all.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
That's the wrong thing to say, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I will be looking forward to you either in a tutu or not. Mrs. M will be having a stern word with you, like any prom parent will be, as we make our way up to the central and north of the country. I think we'll play that tune, So Good, from Gary Taylor. But before we do, last words from you both. I didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to see if you recognise any of these vehicles, Colin, that were to be seen. That's a
yes,
BMW.
I recognise them all.
Do you really? Okay, let's do it. Let's take a couple of minutes then. If a quick test for Colin. What's there? That's BMW first, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a 2002.
Yep. Somebody
Next
gave
to it
me
is the Volvo Amazon.
Yep.
Then the MGB.
Yep.
Then a Datsun 240Z.
Check you out.
And the last one is a Triumph Stag.
You can tell from that little snippet. That's incredible. So what are we seeing here? More is that from the same similar
TR4 first.
Yeah.
An Austin Healey 3000, a second Austin Healey 3000.
My goodness.
An Aston Martin DB4 or DB5. I can't quite see enough of the next.
Not enough of that grill there. Okay.
I think.
I would have guessed Porsche 927, but
would you?
No. That's a BMW.
The green one?
That one.
Okay. All right. So yeah, BM at the front and an MG on the right, I think there.
Yeah, that's a BMW. What do they call them? Oh dear, 6 Series. 6 Series.
I mean, I'm impressed. You don't have to go into that level of detail, but the $64 million question is, who is this and what is that vehicle?
I think that's some American Dodge, is it, or a Chrysler?
Go on, James.
It's a Pontiac.
No,
Le Mans. 63.
Pontiac.
63.
Yeah, I'm afraid you've got me there. My knowledge of American cars are very, very limited.
It's kind of my knowledge of all cars is about like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
just
final words.
That car. It was my car.
It was yours, wasn't it? Final words in this morning. Colin, looking forward to seeing you soon. What do you have to say about this trip that we're going on?
Well, I'd like a lot of people to watch tomorrow morning because one of the reasons is whilst Hugh and Jane run such a beautiful place, it is on the market as a business. And I would like to see us being able to help them sell it.
There you go. So if you can stay there, and you might even, if your dream is to run your own amazing establishment where you can put people up and give them the time of their lives in that wonderful part of Portugal. How about that as well? So check it out, minola.co.uk. I'll see you soon, Colin.
You will.
All right. Hand over to you, James, for your last words this morning. Ciao, mate. Take care.
Well, it's been such a rich hour. It's like, what do I want to say? It's mostly just a reminder of the value of mindfulness. You know, be mindful in everything you do, and I think you'll create yourself a happy life. I mean, really.
Whether that be running a B&B or whether you're driving your car, it's applicable everywhere. Whether you're wearing a tutu.
Or changing your cat habits, or you know, whatever. So many things we talk about. I don't want to leave without pointing out. You very masterfully dodged the language thing again today. So
Obrigado.
yes.
Obrigado.
Perhaps we'll get to the one thing I've learned. I've got a few.
Very good, James. Have a great week. And yes, of course, there's always next week. Take care, mate. Bye for now. Have a good boa semana. Ciao, ciao. And
ciao.
See you all soon on the Wine Club tonight. Or we'll see you from Visier, live from Visier at minola.co.uk tomorrow morning. Have a great day and bye for now. Where's that video, James? Oh, here it is.